on Good Things yesterday about eating a whole donut. You can take that up with Rhino. He let the world know that you halved it twice.
I did. I will cop to it. I helped two very nice people out.
And so you got a whole donut out of
I had a whole donut, which is not my plan, but the president of the company told me to go finish it off.
Go finish it off. Well, let's get to the beautiful day that the Lord has made. Where are you going to get in your tennis, Perez?
I'm going to try if I can get my phone to work.
What does that have to do with tennis?
You have to get some things prioritized. You got to get your business taken care of. Then you go out and play all afternoon.
Well, you know what? It's such a pretty day. I bet I could hook you up with a horse ride.
Okay.
Would
I don't know where this is going, but okay.
Okay. Would it be could we see Perez? Would Perez get on a horse?
I've been on a horse.
I would have never guessed.
It was about 1,000 years ago, but I did do it once.
So you can at least check that off of your
That's off my list.
off your bucket list. Well, that leads into our great guests who are joining us here on the Metro today. I have with me Reverend Charles Smith. He's with the Outreach Horseback Ministries as well as Restoration Church there in Jackson. He's got his lovely mom Shirley along with him, who does great ministry work in domestic violence in Jackson as well. And I lead into that, Reverend Smith, because usually Perez is not one to get on an animal, to get his feet, dirty, to go fishing. So I had to poke fun at him. But here, you never know who may find their way to be connected with a horse. So I think that's a good thing. So welcome to you both.
Thank you.
All right, Reverend, I'm going to start with you. So let's start with the 30 years ago. You guys planted the church Restoration in Jackson. Take us back 30 years ago to when you decided to start that movement.
Well, 30 years ago, I started my ministry, dealing with ministry with, God calling me into working with the youth. But we started the church maybe 10 or 15 years ago. We just felt led that, with everything going on in the world in Mississippi with the crime and things. And so we right in the area where we can go out and just, try to reach young people and win souls for Christ. That's what it's all about. So, it started with that. And so I would say about 15 years ago, we started our church on Restoration. But right at 30 years ago, horse ministry.
Started doing that.
Yes,
so Restoration, Miss Shirley, where is y'all's church located in Jackson?
It's at 3931 Hanging Moss Road behind the McDonald's, right on Northside Drive.
So y'all are right there where the community, you can get in and be those hands and feet that is of Jesus that's so needed. And okay, so the horse piece to it. Now we'll go back 30 years.
Okay.
Reverend, let's start with when you got connected with horses. I'm sure that was before 30 years ago. How did horses enter your life?
Well, it was a hobby for me. Horses and fishes was something that I, loved doing. And, I taught school a little bit for a while. And some of the kids I would bring the horse and, let them ride and that sort of deal. And that was a young man in particular, lost his father. Father wasn't in his life. And I showed him how to ride a horse, showed him the responsibility of the horse. And for some reason, he came to me. He was like, Reverend Smith, thank you. I never had a dad to show, somebody, a father figure to show, spend time with me. And even Sloan dealing with a horse. And the young man, maybe 2 days later, I heard he got killed. Mm-hmm. And it hurt me so bad. It devastated me. And for days, I prayed and I asked God, the Lord deal with me through dreams. And I prayed and asked God, I said, Lord, you got to show me, I got to do something. I got to reach more young people. I have to show them a better way. And the Lord led me to start a horse ministry. So in a dream, I saw myself showing young people how to ride horses. And I said, Lord, this is it. But what do I do? Because I don't know where to start. I don't know where to begin. And when I tell you, when I know God is in something, everything started falling in place.
Amen.
And then people start, supporting, said, I'll be glad to do this. I'll be glad to help you. And from there, I've been doing it.
For 30 years, you're
Right,
putting one
yeah.
hoof in front of the other and
Yeah.
sort of reaching out. Perez, I got it. Reaching out into the community. Okay, Miss Shirley, he must have been a young chap back 30 years ago. Come to you and say, hey, Mom, I want to, get this ministry off the ground. Did you feel like it was just a good fit for his personality and talents?
It was, and he don't like me to tell his age, but he was very, very young when he got started in the ministry, and he had the support of me and his father, and we supported him in all that he does, and he kind of been all over the United States with preaching and singing and all of that, and so what he does now is just an inspiration even to me. I'm thankful that God uses him in the way that he does.
And I know to last 30 years in a community, that means that something's clicking or there's a seed sown there that's, reaping some kind of harvest. So, and I know it's tough work. So let's talk about your ministry with the horses. How does it work? I mean, I know they're horses, but how do you connect with the youth? Do they get to take care of the horse, ride the horse? Are you showing the horses?
Yes, ma'am. With just recently, I speak maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. We had this one retired horse. He was an old horse that we purchased. I would say right at 2 or 3 years ago, and the boys, we started out doing barrel racing, but they felt like that was a little too girly. So that's what they thought.
Until they got on it and started riding. Yeah.
But no, we started harness racing, and we have this one great horse that been doing such a great job, because it started off, just teaching them, showing them the responsibility of the horse, showing them how God interact, with the horses and things like that. But we just been blessed because we have this one horse that's been, we raced down in the Neshoba last year, and he won all 3 races. Then last year went to Fayetteville, Tennessee, and he won, and went to Kentucky last year, and he did. So, that feels good.
Yeah.
Because they train the horses. So, it's a lot into it. We teach them how to, ride and training. And so, yeah.
How many youth do you have at one time?
So far, we probably, because we deal with the church too, maybe right at 25 or more. But I always say I have 5 faithful young men that's a part of my ministry that really, interact, with the horses on a daily basis. But all together, probably 25 plus.
How many horses do you have?
We have 8.
That's a lot of horses.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Where, Miss Shirley, are they at your house? Where is he hiding these horses?
I think he have them in another little city, kind of outside of Jackson, on a ranch or something. I have not. I think I've been out there maybe once.
Yeah,
So they're not in the city of Jackson. You don't have
they
them
not well
tied up in the inner city.
No, they thank the Lord. A few years back, the Mendenhall Ministries heard about what I do for the youth, and they have a ministry that reaches young people there. So we took the horses there maybe like a few years back, and let the kids ride the horses. And the lady said, "Well, we would love to have you here." And like I say, God
Provided.
He did.
So what's it like for the youth the first time they get to interact with one of your horses, Reverend?
Well, my main thing, like I was just saying, it's a good thing because we use the horses. For years, have tried to use these horses to win souls. That's what it's all about, trying to save one. It's not, to me, it's not about the horse. It's just we use the horses. But so it's a good thing when one say, well, I'm going to accept the Lord as my Lord and Savior, and thank you. I see a different route because, like I was telling you before, it have not been an easy journey. I have lost kids, lost 1-2 years ago, which, had lost a kid before that through suicide. So, it's a hurtful thing. So whenever I see that child, the smile, because I know the areas they come from. Whenever I see them smiling and interacting, it makes me feel good, So it's a good feeling to see them, the love. Because one thing about a horse, they love you unconditional, and you got to have trust. And that's the reason why one of the reasons with the horse ministry, because one thing about a horse, you have to trust that horse, and that horse have to trust you. And God does us the same way. If you trust Him, He will lead you. He will guide you. He loves us unconditional, just like the horse. So that's. So it does mean good to see the smiles on the kids' faces and how they interact.
I think by now, after 30 years, Reverend, you should have had. I mean, you've got some kids that are now grown adults.
They grown.
But I think, and it goes to show when you are stable in the community and you continue to do good and you're consistent and don't give up, then that's too when you can have that kind of success, or people start to flock to what you're doing.
Yeah. It have not been an easy journey. I would tell you, you have in anything, church ministry, you have your ups and you have your downs, but God always, what you just said earlier, He provides. And I thank God, for people like, Jeff, I know he's listening, but him and Mr. Allen Wilson. Matter of fact, I have to speak on him. He heard about my ministry. He used to own the car lot down in Flowood, and he heard about my ministry, and he purchased our ministry a truck. And just last year, he purchased us another truck, helped us buy a horse trailer. So I thank the Lord for people like them, because the journey have not been easy, but God always send people to help.
Because anyone listening to the Metro, Reverend, knows that horses aren't cheap.
They not.
I can remember being a little girl and trying to convince my daddy to buy me one.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, you're going to have to stop all your activities, and you're going to have all these chores, and, they need to eat, they need to be slept, they have doctor bills, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the real purpose of it. But, we often look at Jackson and feel hopeless in some respects. And I feel like you can get connected where you feel called or led, and support those people who have boots on the ground or hooves on the ground. I did it again. and helping. And so, that's one way to help support what you are doing.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Is there a way to find you online or what you're up to, or is it a little more low-key than that?
Well, not just yet. We're working on a website, but I am on Facebook, Outreach Horseback Ministry. So if you want to sort of interact, looking at the page of us interacting with the horses, riding and racing and things like that, you can go on Facebook. But
y'all must be gearing up for the Neshoba County Fair again this year.
And then hopefully next Monday, May 8th, we're supposed to be leaving to go to Oak Grove, Kentucky, to race. We have, like I said, this one horse he's performing. He's doing good.
And what's his name?
I named him Q. And the reason why like I told you, 2 years ago, I lost a young man who was dealing with my ministry for years. And I have to show you when we get off. But the day he died, I show it to you, a cloud in the form of an angel of a horse appeared at my farm. And it's just, that did something to me, which I'll show it to you in a little bit. And I said, I got to keep going. Because at that point, I was ready to call it in. But then I said, Lord, you did this. And it so happened we got the horse a few weeks later. Someone named this horse after him. So this one horse name is Q. We've been doing such a great job, and I don't know if it's because of him.
Oh, of course it is. Divine intervention. It's got a little guardian angel up there.
I truly believe
hollering at him, go!
I believe that. I truly believe
I think they can have fun in heaven.
Yes,
they can get connected to what we're doing here. But I definitely feel like you've been open to the signs and following your own sort of North Star with it. And we've had so many great guests here on the Metro over the years that just started with a dream and a vision, and they just stepped out, and then the next thing came, and then the next thing came, and you don't see the whole staircase at once, I think is the way the quote goes. And so if you feel that, then just step out and sort of find out. And I know through y'all's church, the Restoration, Miss Shirley, you guys do a lot of good work in hard topics too, along with domestic abuse or domestic violence. So how did you feel drawn to that?
I went through a situation with my ex-husband. We was married 25 years. He's the father of Reverend Smith and 4 other children. We have 5 children together. And for 25 years being married to him, I was in a very violent situation. He beat me for 25 years, and I would question and ask God, when could I get out of this situation? And I know people find it hard to believe, but God spoke to me at the end of 25 years and said, now it's time for you to go. Instructed me to write the book, The Secret Life of a Preacher's Wife. When you read it, you will see the horrific things that he put me through, and not only me, but my children as well. We went through economic situations that was just unbearable. We was sometime without water, lights, gas for 6 months at a time. We lived in a condemned trailer for like 2 years, and things was really hard, just horrific for me and my 5 children. And I know that's what has inspired my son and my other children to do all that they do for children and to help others not go through some of the things they went through. And so God instructed me to start speaking. And I speak a lot through Miss Eva Jones, who's over Butterflies. It's a domestic violence ministry. And I do a lot of speaking for her. And I go somewhere everywhere, colleges, churches, universities. It doesn't matter.
And the radio. And we're going to continue your story, and we're going to touch on your book, The Secret Life of a Preacher's Wife, coming up next, Miss Shirley.
Okay.